Fooled my cheating STBXW into thinking I was cheating, then Thermo-Nuclear Shinobi Ghosted and served her Christmas Day. I spent 6 months making my cheating wife think I was having an affair while I secretly prepared to destroy her entire life. She brought her 27-year-old lover into our home while I was recovering from surgery. So on Christmas Eve, while she slept peacefully in our bed, I left her a gift-wrapped present with a note that said, "Merry Christmas," and disappeared forever. This is a true story. Names have been changed. Before I go any further, drop a comment right now and tell me where you're watching from. And have you ever caught someone cheating? Let me know, because this story gets dark. October 2019. That's when my life as I knew it started crumbling, though I wouldn't realize it for months. I'm a cybersecurity specialist, 45 years old, and I'd been with my wife Melissa since high school. 23 years of marriage. 2 sons, Ethan, 24, and Liam, 17. I thought I knew everything about this woman. Every habit. Every expression. Every secret. I was wrong. It happened during a routine day at work. I was climbing a ladder in our server room when my foot slipped. The fall wasn't dramatic. No slow-motion movie moment. Just gravity doing its job. But when I hit the ground, I felt something in my knee explode. Not tear. Not pop. Explode. The pain was blinding, white-hot, like someone had shoved a railroad spike through my kneecap and was twisting it. I couldn't even scream. I just lay there on the cold concrete floor, gasping like a fish yanked out of water. ACL reconstruction surgery. That's what the orthopedic surgeon told me I needed. Complete tear, he said, showing me the MRI images that looked like abstract art. 6 months recovery minimum. Physical therapy 3 times a week. Workers' comp would cover it, but I'd be essentially useless at home. I remember sitting in his office, looking at Melissa beside me, and seeing something flicker across her face. It was quick. So quick I almost missed it. Annoyance. Just for a second. Then it was gone, replaced by the concerned wife expression she'd perfected over 2 decades. The surgery went fine. Recovery was hell. By November, I could barely shuffle around our house like an old man, gripping furniture for support. My range of motion was maybe 55%. Everything hurt. Getting up from the couch. Climbing stairs. Even rolling over in bed sent lightning bolts of agony through my leg. I felt useless. Emasculated. Like I'd failed as a husband because I couldn't even take out the trash without needing a break halfway through. Melissa was supportive at first. She'd bring me ice packs and pain medication. She'd ask how therapy went. But by December, something shifted. The warmth in her voice cooled by a few degrees. She started working later. Not every night, but often enough that I noticed. She'd come home at 8, sometimes 9, when her shift ended at 5. When I asked about it, she'd sigh and say she was picking up extra hours, that the holidays were busy, that someone had to make up for my lost income. What I didn't know then, what I wouldn't discover until months later, was that picking up extra hours meant something very different than I thought. Little did I know, my injury didn't just tear my ACL. It tore open a door for another man to walk right into my marriage. By March 2020, when COVID-19 slammed into New York City like a freight train, I'd finally been cleared to return to work. 5 months on my back, and I was desperate to feel useful again. Both Melissa and I had essential jobs, so we couldn't work from home. The city locked down. The streets emptied. And Melissa announced she'd be working even more extra hours now because of pandemic demands. Every single day, she said. 3, sometimes 4 hours past her usual end time. I remember the first night she came home at 9:30. I was sitting on the couch, legs still aching from a full day back at work, watching the news coverage of refrigerated morgue trucks. She walked in, and the first thing she did was head straight to the shower. Not a hello. Not a how was your day. Not even eye contact. Just straight to the bathroom. I heard the water running for 20 minutes. At the time, I thought she was just being cautious. COVID protocols, you know. Wash off the germs from work. Made sense. Except she'd never done that before the pandemic. And even as case numbers started dropping in our area, she kept doing it. Every single night. Come home. Shower immediately. Then maybe spend 30 minutes with me before going to bed. Our intimacy life, which had already slowed during my recovery, stopped completely. When I tried to initiate, she'd say she was exhausted. Too tired. Too stressed. Maybe this weekend. The weekends never came. Her phone became an extension of her hand. She'd always been on it a lot, we all are, right? But this was different. She'd be scrolling through something, and when I'd walk into the room, she'd immediately tilt the screen away. Or close whatever app she had open. Before my injury, she used to show me funny memes she found, or Pinterest ideas for the house, or recipes she wanted to try. Now? Nothing. Complete phone secrecy. What are you looking at? I asked one night in late March, trying to keep my voice light and casual. She didn't even look up. Just work stuff. Emails. At 10 p.m.? We're slammed because of the pandemic. I told you that. Something in her tone, sharp, defensive, like I'd accused her of something, made my gut twist. But I pushed it down. I told myself I was being paranoid. She was stressed. We were all stressed. The world was ending around us. Of course she was distant. Except my gut wouldn't stop screaming at me that something was very, very wrong. I started paying closer attention. The way she'd become snippy when I asked simple questions. The way she'd stop touching me, no more casual kisses when she left for work, no more hugs when she came home, no more hand-holding on the couch while we watched TV. It was like living with a roommate who tolerated my presence but didn't particularly want me around. The woman who used to greet me at the door with a smile now barely looked up from her phone when I walked in. One night in early April, while she was in the shower washing away whatever she needed to wash away, I picked up her laptop. She'd left it on the kitchen table, still logged into Facebook. I told myself I was just curious. Just wanted to see what she'd been up to. Maybe she'd posted something I hadn't seen. Maybe there was a clue to why she'd become such a stranger. I scrolled through her recent posts. Family photos. The boys. Some pictures of food she'd made. Pretty standard stuff. Then I went back further. November, December, January. Posts about work parties. Photos from nights out with her coworkers. Group shots of 5 or 6 people at various bars and restaurants, all before the pandemic hit. And then I saw him. He appeared in every single photo. Late 20s, maybe early 30s. Athletic build. That carefully styled hair and groomed beard that young guys spend an hour on every morning. In the first photo, he was standing next to Melissa in a group shot. Okay, fine. Coworker. But in the next photo, his arm was around her shoulder. And in the one after that, his hand was on her lower back. Not her mid-back. Her lower back. Right above her hips. The way you touch someone you're intimate with. I zoomed in on that photo. His hand placement wasn't casual. It was possessive. Familiar. Comfortable. This wasn't a coworker being friendly. This was something else. The worst part? I'd never met this guy. Never even heard Melissa mention his name. In 23 years together, she'd introduced me to every single person she worked with. We'd had them over for dinner. I knew their spouses, their kids, their drama. But this guy? Complete stranger. I clicked on his profile to see who he was. The page loaded. And then I saw it. That message we all dread. You cannot view this content. This user has blocked you. Why would a man I'd never met have me blocked on Facebook but be friends with my wife? My hands started shaking. I set the laptop down before I dropped it. The shower was still running upstairs. I could hear Melissa humming something. She had no idea what I'd just discovered. No idea that the ground beneath our marriage had just opened up into a chasm. I needed proof. Real proof. So I did what any suspicious husband with access to phone records would do. I pulled up our family cell plan, I'm the account holder, so I had full access, and started looking at Melissa's data. Call logs. Text message counts. Data usage patterns. From October 2019 to April 2020. 6 months of history. 2 numbers appeared more than any others. Mine. And one I didn't recognize. I googled the unknown number with trembling fingers. Social media search. Cross-reference. And there he was. Derek Thompson. 27 years old. The same guy from the photos. The one who'd blocked me. Between October and April, Melissa had exchanged over 3,000 text messages with this man. That's more texts than she'd sent me in our entire marriage. But here's the thing about phone records. They tell you who and when. They don't tell you what. The message threads I could see were disjointed, full of gaps. She'd been deleting conversations. Covering her tracks. Which meant she knew what she was doing was wrong. I needed to know what they were saying. So I installed network monitoring software on our shared data plan. It's what I do for a living, cybersecurity. I know how to access encrypted traffic. How to intercept data packets. How to see everything that flows through a network. Within 48 hours of activating the system, I was watching her text conversations in real time. And that's when I saw it. The message that destroyed me. Last night was incredible. I can't wait to feel you again. When can we meet? Derek's message sat there on my screen, glowing in the dark of my office. I read it 3 times, hoping I'd misunderstood. Hoping it was somehow innocent. Hoping for anything except what it obviously was. Melissa's response came through 3 minutes later. I watched the 3 dots appear, disappear, appear again. She was typing, deleting, retyping. Finally, this weekend. He's going to his sister's house Saturday. We'll have the whole afternoon. I miss you so much. I closed my laptop, walked to the bathroom, threw up everything in my stomach. Then I sat on the cold tile floor and stared at the wall for what might have been 2 minutes or 2 hours. Time stopped meaning anything. 23 years. I'd given this woman 23 years of my life. Built her a house. Given her 2 sons. Been faithful every single day. Never even looked at another woman with interest. And she'd been fucking a guy barely older than our oldest son. For 2 days after that, I was a ghost in my own home. Melissa would try to ask what was wrong, and I couldn't even look at her. I'd leave the room. Go sit in my car. Drive to nowhere and just park, staring at nothing. On day 3, the sadness burned away. What replaced it was pure, crystalline rage. I called my best friend Marcus. We've known each other since we were kids. He's the kind of friend who'll help you move a body, no questions asked. She's cheating on me, I said when he answered. No hello. No preamble. Silence on the other end. Then, you sure? I have proof. Months of it. What are you going to do? I took a deep breath. The words came out cold and certain. I want payback. Comment below right now, would you confront immediately and file for divorce, or would you do exactly what I did and make them suffer first? Because what I'm about to tell you, some people think makes me a hero. Others think makes me a monster. But I don't care what you think of me. Because what I did worked. And it felt good. Early June 2020. I sat in my kitchen with Marcus, my sister Rebecca, and 2 of my closest friends, Chris and Sophie. I'd sworn them all to absolute secrecy. Then I laid out my 4-phase plan for revenge. Phase 1, make Melissa think I was cheating while I monitored her spiral. Phase 2, gather ironclad legal evidence while securing my finances. Phase 3, file divorce papers, move my assets, get a new apartment and phone number. Phase 4, expose her to everyone who mattered on Christmas Day and ghost forever. Marcus whistled low. You're really going to make her think you're the one cheating? While she's actually cheating? I nodded. I read something that stuck with me. The enemy of infidelity is unpredictability. I'm going to become completely unpredictable. Sophie leaned forward. She's been my friend since high school, longer than I've known Melissa, actually. Melissa had always been jealous of her, which I'd never understood. Until now. I'm in, Sophie said. Whatever you need. She's always hated me anyway. Let's use that. Rebecca put her hand on my shoulder. My big sister, always protective. I've never seen you like this. But I get it. Make her suffer. The plan was set. Starting the following Monday, I became a completely different person. I started going out at odd times. 7 p.m. on a Tuesday. 10 p.m. on a Thursday. I'd text Melissa, going out for a bit. Be back later. And I'd leave. Where did I go? Marcus's house. Chris's apartment. We'd drink beer and watch UFC fights. But Melissa didn't know that. For all she knew, I was out doing exactly what she'd been doing. I'd come home at midnight, 1 a.m., sometimes later than she did. When she'd ask where I'd been, I'd give her the same vague answers she'd been giving me. Just out. Needed some air. Then I'd go straight to my office and close the door. I started being on my phone constantly when she was around. Smiling at messages. Laughing at things she couldn't see. When she'd ask what was so funny, I'd say, just stuff, and put my phone away. Were the messages actually funny? Sure. Marcus was sending me memes about sports. But she didn't know that. She just saw me smiling at my phone the way she'd been smiling at hers for months. I changed all my passwords. Phone. Email. Facebook. Bank accounts. Everything. When she asked why, I told her there'd been security breaches at work and we all had to update our credentials. She bought it completely. Why wouldn't she? I work in cybersecurity. It was perfectly believable. But the most devastating change? I stopped all physical affection. Every time she reached for me, I pulled away. Every time she tried to kiss me, I turned my head. Every time she initiated intimacy, I said I was tired. Not interested. Maybe later. I became a mirror of her own behavior from the past 6 months. And the whole time, I was watching her messages to Derek in real time. I think he's found someone else, she texted him in mid-June. He's never home. He's always on his phone. He changed all his passwords. He won't touch me. Derek's response was predictable. If he really loved you, he'd be there for you. You deserve better. I took a screenshot. Added it to my evidence folder. By this point, I had hundreds of screenshots. Every message. Every photo. Every lie. All organized chronologically with timestamps. My lawyer was going to love this. But I wasn't done destroying her yet. Because in July, she sent Derek a message that made me smile for the first time in months. Maybe we should stop meeting at the house. I don't know his schedule anymore. I can't risk him coming home early. Wait. She'd been bringing him to our house? Into the home I built for her? The bed I paid for? While I was downstairs, barely able to walk, recovering from surgery? I saved that message. Printed it. Because on Christmas, everyone was going to know exactly what kind of woman my wife really was. August came. Then September. Melissa's paranoia grew with each passing week. She was texting me constantly. When will you be home? Where are you? Who are you with? The same questions I'd wanted to ask her for months. Now she knew how it felt to be on the other side of that uncertainty. In early September, I met with a family attorney. Brought him my mountain of evidence. He looked through it, nodded slowly, and said, New York allows fault-based divorce. With what you have here, you could nail her to the wall. We started drafting papers. I also started apartment hunting. Found a decent studio in Co-op City. Signed a 2-year lease. Started slowly moving my most essential items out of the house with Marcus's help. Things Melissa wouldn't notice were missing unless you told her. My passport. Important documents. Sentimental items from my childhood. My father's watch. One box at a time, I erased myself from our home. October 20th, 2020. That's the day everything shifted. Melissa called me at work, her voice shaking. Can you come straight home after work? I need to talk to you about something important. My heart rate spiked. Was she finally going to confess? I drove home rehearsing what I'd say. How I'd react. Whether I'd tell her I already knew or let her finish first. I walked in to find her sitting on the couch, looking smaller than I'd ever seen her. Her eyes were red. She'd been crying. When she looked up at me, I saw genuine fear in her face. Are you unhappy with me? She asked, voice breaking. You've been so distant. You don't show me affection anymore. Our intimate life is completely dead. I feel like you're pushing me away, and I don't understand why. I stood there, waiting for the confession. Waiting for her to say it. Instead, she said, Are you cheating on me? Something broke inside me. Not in a sad way. In a hysterical way. I fell to the floor laughing. Not a chuckle. Not a polite laugh. Full body, can't breathe, tears streaming down my face, hysterical laughter. I was pounding the hardwood floor with my fist, gasping for air, laughing so hard my ribs hurt. Why are you laughing? She cried. This isn't funny. Are you cheating on me? I couldn't answer. The irony was too much. My wife, who'd been fucking Derek for a year, was asking me if I was unfaithful. The absurdity of it shattered something in my brain. I laughed for 2 full minutes straight. When I finally stopped, I sat up, looked her dead in the eyes for the first time in months, shook my head slowly, and walked away without saying a single word. I went to my office, closed the door, and kissed the top of her head as I passed. That was it. No explanation. No answer. Just that enigmatic gesture that could mean anything. That night, I checked my monitoring system. She was texting Derek in real time. I know he's cheating on me. I asked him tonight and he literally laughed in my face. He fell on the floor and laughed for like 5 minutes. He doesn't even care how I feel anymore. I don't know how or why, but he's gone. I know I've lost him. This is karma. I know it. I took a screenshot. Saved it. And smiled. She finally understood what I'd been feeling for months. That sinking realization that you've lost someone you love. Except she had caused her own loss. I was just returning the favor. November arrived. My friend Sophie had been stuck in Europe since March because of travel restrictions. When she finally made it back to New York on November 3rd, Marcus, Chris, and I decided to celebrate. Small gathering. COVID safe. Just the 5 of us at Chris's house. Sophie had an evil idea. Let's take photos exactly like Melissa's photos with Derek. Post them to your Facebook. Trigger her. Sophie and I staged the photos carefully. Her standing very close to me. My arm around her shoulder. Her hand on my chest. Anyone looking at those photos would think we were a couple. We weren't. We were just friends. But the optics? Damning. I posted all 6 photos to Facebook on November 3rd with the caption, Great to have Sophie back in town. Missed you, friend. Within 2 hours, I had 87 likes and 34 comments. Melissa's friends were definitely seeing them. And definitely telling her. November 5th. Melissa came home from work 3 hours early. I knew the moment I saw her face that she'd seen the photos. Those pictures with Sophie, she said, voice tight with anger. They're really inappropriate. You two look like a couple. What are people going to think? I looked at her calmly. Didn't raise my voice. Just said, so what about the pics with you and Derek from last year? He was pretty handsy in them. But did you see me get bent out of shape over it, dear? Her face went completely pale. The color literally drained from her cheeks like someone had pulled a plug. Her mouth opened but no sound came out. She didn't know I'd seen those photos. She didn't know I knew Derek's name. And in that moment, she realized I knew something. She just didn't know how much. Derek is just friendly with everyone, she stammered. He's like that with everybody. I can see how it looks, but there's nothing there. I'm sorry if those pictures hurt you. I'll delete them right now. I didn't respond. Just stared at her with cold, dead eyes. Then I turned and walked to my office. Closed the door. Left her standing in the living room, shaking. From that night forward, Melissa went into overdrive trying to win me back. She'd try to initiate affection. Try to start conversations. Try to touch me. I stonewalled her every single time. Because 2 weeks later, I intercepted the message I'd been waiting for. November 15th. Melissa to Derek, I can't see you anymore. The guilt is suffocating me. I feel like karma is eating me alive. I can't risk losing my husband. I love you deeply, but I'm still in love with him. I have to save my marriage before it's too late. Derek lost his mind. He doesn't love you the way I love you. You're making a mistake. You can't just throw me away like this. You've been in a prison with him for 23 years. I can give you real love. Too little, too late, Melissa. You should have tried saving our marriage in March. Or April. Or any of the months you were fucking Derek in our bed. She told Derek their physical relationship was over. But she agreed to see him one last time that week. To say goodbye properly, she said. I saved everything. Every word. Every plea. Every lie. It all went into my evidence file. Thanksgiving 2020. My son Ethan and his fiancée hosted dinner at their place. Small gathering. Just immediate family. I knew I had to play the role of loving husband one more time. For my sons. For appearances. Because I couldn't have them suspecting anything before I disappeared. So I performed. I kissed Melissa's cheek. Hugged her. Put my arm around her shoulders. Held her hand at the table. For the first time in months, I touched her. And she glowed. Absolutely radiated happiness. She thought she was getting me back. After dinner, Liam decided to stay overnight with his brother. Melissa and I drove home alone. Thank you for tonight, she said softly in the car. For being present. For touching me again. I don't know what you're going through, baby, but I'm here for you. I nearly laughed again but held it back. I know. I just need time. When we got home, I made a decision. If this was going to be the last time I touched this woman, I might as well make it count. We had sex that night for the first time since spring. But I did something I'd never done in 20 years of marriage. I used a condom. She was confused. I could see it in her eyes when I pulled it out of the nightstand drawer. But she didn't ask questions. Maybe she didn't want to know the answer. When we finished, I didn't cuddle. I got up immediately, showered, and went to sleep in my office. Left her lying there, confused and alone. The next morning, I checked my monitoring system. Melissa had responded to Derek for the first time in 2 weeks. We made love last night. For the first time in months. I think I'm getting him back. I think I can save this. Derek sent back a long message. Full nice guy meltdown. You're wasting your time. He doesn't love you the way I do. You've been in prison with him for 23 years. You deserve to experience real love with someone who cherishes you. Come back to me. A 27-year-old kid lecturing my wife about our marriage. The audacity was almost impressive. I saved that message for the binder I was preparing. Everyone needed to see what kind of person had helped destroy our marriage. December 4th, 2020. The hardest day of this entire ordeal. I called Ethan and Liam to the house. Both my sons sat across from me in my office. I looked at their faces and saw myself at their ages. Hopeful. Trusting. Believing in the goodness of people. I was about to shatter one of those beliefs. Your mother has been having an affair for over a year with a 27-year-old coworker, I said. No sugarcoating. No gentle lead-in. Just the truth. I'm filing for divorce. Liam's face crumpled. He started crying immediately. And I remembered, his first girlfriend had cheated on him just 4 months earlier. Now his mother too? I watched his entire worldview shatter in real time. Mom did that, he said through tears. To you? I'm sorry you had to find out this way, I said. But I won't lie to you. Ethan, older and more composed, put his arm around his brother. We'll take care of him. He can stay with us. Are you going to be okay, Dad? Yes, son. We're going to be all right. I promise you. They packed Liam's things that night and left. As they drove away, I stood in the driveway and cried. Not for my marriage. For my youngest son's broken heart. Over the next 2 weeks, Marcus helped me move the last of my important belongings out of the house while Melissa was at work. She had no idea her husband was slowly erasing himself from her life. December 16th. I spent 14 hours at my computer, compiling every piece of evidence from the past 8 months. Thousands of texts. Photos with metadata. Call logs. Hotel charges on our joint credit card. Timeline visualizations showing when she lied about working late. Voice recordings of her lying to my face. I created 14 separate PDF portfolios. Each one customized for a specific recipient. Her parents. Her sisters. Her brother. Her HR department with formal proof of a workplace relationship that violated company policy. Derek's HR department. Derek's parents, especially his devout Catholic mother. My mother. Her closest friends. 3 copies for my lawyer. Then I set up encrypted email accounts with time-delayed delivery. Every email scheduled to send between December 22nd and 24th. Christmas morning, 47 people would wake up to the truth about Melissa. December 24th. 11:47 p.m. Melissa was asleep in our bed, breathing peacefully. She had no idea what was coming in a few hours. I took the final evidence portfolio. Printed it. Bound it professionally. Taped the divorce papers to the inside cover. Wrapped it like a Christmas present with a red bow. Wrote a note, "Merry Christmas." I placed it on my pillow next to her sleeping form. Added my old phone and my lawyer's business card. Then I packed my 2 final backpacks. I walked through our house one last time. Looked at the family photos on the walls. Our wedding day. The boys as babies. Vacations to the beach. A life that felt like it belonged to someone else now. I locked the front door behind me for the last time. Got in my car. Drove to my new apartment. I didn't look back. Not once. Christmas morning, December 25th, 2020. I woke up in my new apartment, made coffee, and logged into Facebook from an anonymous account I'd created. Melissa hadn't blocked me because she didn't know this account existed. Her Facebook wall was exploding. Her youngest sister had commented, "How could you do this? After everything he gave you." Her parents had posted religious quotes about adultery and sin. My mother's comment made me smile. 23 years. 2 sons. And you threw it away for a child. You disgust me. Friends who didn't know were commenting in shock. I can't believe this. He was always so good to you. How could you? And there, in the middle of it all, Melissa's desperate posts. "Please, if anyone knows where he is, I need to talk to him. Please tell me. I can explain everything." The people who knew my location, Marcus, Rebecca, Sophie, Chris, stayed completely silent. I'd asked them not to help her, and they honored that. She couldn't spin the narrative. Couldn't minimize what she'd done. Couldn't play victim. Everyone had the evidence. Screenshots. Dates. Her own words. She was convicted by her own messages. I sat in my empty apartment, drinking coffee, watching her world burn. And I felt nothing. No satisfaction. No regret. Just empty relief. By December 29th, I learned through mutual friends that both Melissa and Derek had been fired. His Catholic mother had disowned him after receiving the evidence. He was homeless, couch surfing with whatever friends would still take him in. Mission accomplished. But I still had one final confrontation ahead. January 6th, 2021. First time I'd seen Melissa since Christmas Eve. We met at my lawyer Jeff's office to discuss divorce terms. She looked terrible. Like she hadn't slept or eaten in 2 weeks. Her eyes were hollow. Her skin was gray. She could barely hold a pen without her hands shaking. I wore all black. Johnny Cash style. Walking the line one last time. Her lawyer presented their offer. Marriage counseling. 6-month trial separation. Reconsider the divorce. Give her another chance. I didn't even let her finish. No. Uncontested divorce. Grounds of marital neglect due to adultery. Full asset division. She keeps the house but buys out my equity. I keep my cabin and vehicles. No spousal support. My client is currently unemployed, her lawyer tried. Jeff cut her off. Due to her own misconduct. She violated workplace relationship policies. That's her consequence. 2 hours of negotiation. Final terms, legal separation leading to uncontested divorce. Finalized in 3 months. I'd pay $653 monthly for utilities until she found employment, maximum 12 months. Small price to pay to be rid of her. When the meeting ended, I walked out of the building. I heard footsteps running behind me. "Please." Melissa's voice. "Can we talk? Just 5 minutes." I stopped. Turned around. I'd give her this one last conversation. She was crying. Full ugly crying. Makeup running. Voice breaking. "I'm so sorry. I never meant for it to go this far. I never expected to fall in love with Derek. When I thought you were cheating, I realized how wrong I was. The pain I felt made me understand what I'd done to you. Can you ever forgive me?" Maybe in a few years we could try to start over? I can't imagine my life without you. I looked at her with complete indifference. Start imagining it. Because this is the last time I'll ever see or speak to you. But we have sons together. A history. 23 years. I gave you half my life and every ounce of love I had. Unconditionally. And you, in your own words, fell in love with another man. There is no chance of forgiveness. The love I had for you died during those months you professed your love to Derek instead of coming to me. She was sobbing uncontrollably now. People walking by were staring. I didn't care. I don't regret the 23 years I spent being your husband. I regret that you decided the easy way out was better than fighting for us. And there's one more thing you should know. I paused. This was the line I'd been saving. Something I'd read on Reddit weeks ago that had stuck with me. For 23 years, I thought you were mine. But it turns out, it was just my turn. I put in my earbuds. Turned around. Walked away. Didn't look back once. Left her standing on that Manhattan sidewalk, destroyed. That night, her father called. The man who'd been like a father to me since my own dad died. His voice was heavy with shame. You were always a good man to my daughter. You treated her right. I'm ashamed of what she did. I raised her better than this. I appreciate that, sir. If you ever need anything, thank you. But I think it's best we don't stay in touch. I'm sorry. He understood. We said goodbye. Both knowing it was final. I hung up and changed my Facebook relationship status to divorced. Even though it wasn't legally final yet. In my heart, the marriage had ended on Christmas Eve. The post got 200 reactions. Dozens of messages asking what happened. I told everyone plainly, filed for divorce. She had an affair. Moving on. Making it public. Owning the narrative. Not hiding in shame. The next night, Sophie texted me. Are you free tonight? I need to tell you something. We met at a diner. Ordered food. Made small talk. Then Sophie's expression shifted. She looked nervous. Vulnerable. I'd never seen her like that. I need to tell you something I should have told you 25 years ago, she said. I've liked you since we were sophomores in high school. Since 1990. I was the heavy-set goth girl with diabetes. I thought I had zero chance with a guy like you. You were kind to me when no one else was. I was going to tell you how I felt, but then Melissa asked you out first. And you said yes. I sat there, stunned. Sophie, I've watched you be with her for 25 years, knowing how I felt. I got married to someone else. Got divorced. Dated other people. But I never stopped caring about you. When you told me about Melissa's affair last year, part of me was relieved. I know that's terrible. But I'd waited so long. She reached across the table, took my hand. I willingly stepped back from my own feelings for 25 years just to see you happy. Because that's what you do when you really love someone. You put their happiness above your own. Tears were streaming down her face now. When your divorce is finalized, I'd like us to start seeing each other. If you're interested. I couldn't speak. This woman, who'd transformed from the awkward teenager I'd known into this confident, successful, beautiful person, had loved me for a quarter century. In silence. Without expectation. Just pure, selfless love. That night, we went back to my apartment. And for the first time in over a year, I felt genuinely cared for. Not as a provider. Not as a husband. Just as a person worth loving. Over the next 3 months, Sophie and I grew closer. She understood my pain because she'd been through divorce too. She never pushed. Never demanded answers. Just existed beside me while I healed. April 13th, 2021. My lawyer called. It's done. Finalized early. You're officially divorced. I hung up. Sat in silence. Then I broke down crying. Not sad tears. Relief tears. Like my soul had been released from a prison I didn't even know I was in. I called Ethan. It's finalized. Your mother and I are no longer married. How do you feel, Dad? Free. I feel free. I talked to Liam for 90 minutes. He was still struggling. Still in therapy. His trust in relationships shattered. But he was working on it. We both were. Sophie came over that night. Held me while I cried. I will never betray you. I love you with all my heart. I believed every word. 3 weeks later, Sophie and I went to City Hall. Got a civil union. Neither of us wanted traditional marriage again, but we wanted the legal protections. When we announced it to our friends, my sister Rebecca laughed. You thought you were being subtle? We've all known for months. Apparently we weren't as sneaky as we thought. And then, 3 weeks after that, I got a message on Reddit. From Derek. He'd seen my story when it blew up on YouTube. Recognized it immediately. The message was long. Apologetic. Desperate. I know what I did was unforgivable. My mother disowned me. I lost my job. I've been homeless for months. I just need you to know I'm sorry. I could have ignored it. Blocked him immediately. But I wanted him to hear this. I typed, "You're a 27-year-old man who has to live the rest of your life knowing your own mother loathes you for breaking up a marriage almost as long as you've been breathing. When I was 27, I was building a legacy. Right now you're a homeless, jobless homewrecker. If you're smart, you'll learn from this lesson. If not, you'll stay a failure until you're my age, assuming you make it that far. I'd wish you luck, but you don't need luck. You need to get your life together." Then I blocked him. Forever. So here we are. 6 months after the divorce. I'm with someone who genuinely loves me. My sons are healing, Liam's in therapy, Ethan's planning his wedding. I'm in therapy too, working through everything. And Melissa? I heard through mutual friends that she sold the house. Got a clerical job through someone who took pity on her. Lives in a small apartment. Functioning but hollow. I don't need updates anymore. She's not my problem. She's not my anything. My therapist told me something recently. The revenge gave you temporary satisfaction. But it didn't heal you. What healed you was building a new life. Maybe he's right. But the revenge still felt damn good. Do I regret divorcing her? No. Do I regret gathering evidence? No. Do I regret the psychological warfare? No. Do I regret exposing her to everyone? Sometimes. My therapist says it was about making her feel the powerlessness I felt. And maybe it didn't heal me. But it gave me closure. Would I do it all again? Absolutely. She destroyed 23 years. I simply returned the favor. For 23 years, I thought she was mine. But it was just my turn. And when my turn ended, I made damn sure she'd remember it forever. If you made it this far, thank you for listening. If you think I did the right thing, leave a like. If you think I went too far, tell me in the comments. I genuinely want to know. And if you want more stories like this, subscribe. If you're going through something similar, seek professional help. Revenge may feel satisfying, but healing takes real work. Choose yourself. Always.